guys, this podcast, because of the way it's set up and because of who we are, it's going to vary wildly in quality. But I feel like this is going to be a good one since both Ben and I are on almost no sleep. So you're about to get some pretty unfiltered raw dog ear digging right now. But before we get into it, here's something that a person has said on Twitter. Here's a quote. Really enjoying the podcast. That was a quote from Devin Smith, who is at Devin Smith 835 on Twitter, and he is officially the first person to ever contact me on Twitter and tell me he is enjoying the podcast. And I just want to say, Devin Smith is dope as fuck. Follow that dude.
Thank you, Devin Smith.
Thank you, Devin.
Do you think he'll be the last person to ever contact you on Twitter?
It's entirely possible.
It's highly likely.
It's entirely, which is why I'm celebrating. Devin Smith, listen right now, Devin, okay? If you're listening, this is for you. You are one of the boys, all right? You're one of my homies. If you ask me for something on Twitter, I'm going to do my very best to come through for you because you are a part of all of this right now. So congratulations, you're in. Like most gangs have a longer process for getting in. You know, you got to be jumped in or you got to wear certain colors, some shit. Like, not us. All you got to do is say, hey, guys, we like you. Like, oh, shit. Somebody likes us. Bring that guy into the fold. We need him.
Yeah, straight up.
All right. So I am Flavor Ray over in seat A, and this is Tattoo with Children. In seat B, we have the Dread Pirate Benjamin. And across from us, it is...
we got to stick with CIO Payne.
CIO Payne.
Yeah.
CIO, which is Chief Information Officer Payne. He is entirely that. So
yeah,
that's
information, intelligence.
Information,
things,
intelligence, yeah.
All things that begin with I.
All things that are great.
I am extraordinarily intelligent and also humble.
And he has a great sense of humor. And he's from New Jersey. He covers all the bases. All right, so what's going on today, guys? I'm not even sure. I'm barely here.
It's Monday. We had a pretty atrocious day of football yesterday. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
I am super looking forward to tonight's game for one reason and one reason only.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you're on Gary Vee's Twitter or not, but I think you should get on it real quick because the Jets are playing Monday Night Football.
I gotta tell you, I don't really I haven't really paid much into the Jets in a long time.
Sure.
I know the cheer, you know, the JETS. I'm that old.
Right.
But Gary V's love for the Jets and his misery when they lose is absolutely gold. I just love watching it.
It's 99% of the people in New York, New Jersey who actually matter don't give a crap about the Jets anyway. So
that's what I know. You know what I'm saying? He's like the only Jets fan.
It's only because it ends in ETS, which if you're a New York team with a name that ends in ETS, no one cares about you.
Why is that?
I don't know. But you got the Mets and the Jets, no one cares.
Can you look it up?
Yeah, sure, I can look it up. No, I can look it up.
No,
Mike's not looking it up.
Yeah. So the thing about the Jets is I completely understand his love for the downtrodden.
Sure.
Because I, as a child, I followed the U.S. men's national team in soccer.
Oh, you poor bastard.
Which properly is, in the rest of the world, referred to as football.
Had to call Mike to laugh at that shit.
So I was back in the days when literally what could get you on the team was like big hair. So this is a shout out to everyone who remembers Marcelo Balboa.
Yeah, I remember him.
Alexi Lawless.
Yes.
And these guys literally just grew their hair out to make the team.
Right.
That's the only skill they had. You know,
all they brought to the table.
They didn't do anything
couldn't
else.
Dribble, couldn't defend.
I'm quite frankly, I'm not sure how Alexi Lawless has ever gotten a job doing anything. Because first of all, he's a ginger. Second
Which means
of all,
he lacks a soul.
Right. Secondly, he's like 9'2".
Right.
which means he has trouble walking.
Yeah, he's all gangly legged, and every
Right.
time he runs, you're like, is that a gazelle?
Right. Now, Balboa, on the other hand, was like Fabio, but could run.
Right.
You know, and so he's got the flowing locks going down the field.
Yeah.
So Claudio Reyna, all those guys, it was a really horrible time to be a fan of something.
It was a horrible time to be a fan of, but isn't every time a horrible time to be a fan of men's soccer in America?
Currently, yes.
I mean, I've never known their heyday. When was their heyday?
No, we haven't had our heyday yet.
Yeah, we haven't
and
had one.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about Gary V's love for the Jets, to go back to American football, is they really, I understand they did have a heyday at some point.
They really should think about bringing Joe Namath back under the center.
Yeah, but seriously, the deal is, it's just nice. It's fun to watch. So I'm excited about tonight because there's a chance we'll actually have a good game.
Sure, that's a possibility.
It's a possibility. I understand it's week 2, but they're but they're playing Cleveland. I think. Are they playing Cleveland? I think they're playing Cleveland.
Didn't Cleveland already lose this week? Who are they playing tonight? Mike.
Looking it up.
Mike's almost there.
It might not be Cleveland. It might be another team that doesn't matter.
The thing about the Jets
It is Cleveland.
All right, it is
All
Cleveland.
right, so look at this.
They have a good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, but no, they don't. Think about this. Think about this.
See, Ben is spot on. This is the reason why no one likes the Jets. It's the same effect as the Cowboys, honestly, right? It's because the Giants win and the Jets lose, so nobody's going to like the Jets. That's exactly why no one likes the Jets.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Yankees and the Mets. The
Right.
Yankees win, the Mets lose, so nobody likes the Mets.
Right. But that's because no one believes in them. See, if they had faith, Gary Vee understands this. That's why he wants to own the Jets, because it's just that no one's ever believed in them before.
Right.
But they're playing the dog pound.
Right.
I don't know, or can you see on the computer screen if they're playing in Cleveland or in New York?
It's they're playing in New York. Cleveland Browns at the Jets.
Okay, so Gary Vee is going to be at the game.
He will definitely be there.
He will be at the game, so I'm watching this game, or I'm going to try to.
I really hope he live tweets it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he does because he gets so, worked up about it. But the thing about it is, it's just exciting because yesterday's football, quite frankly, just really, really, it made you
It should have depressed you.
Yeah, it made you miss Division 2A.
Yeah.
Like college ball.
Yeah.
You know, like you were like, boy,
I needed something else to watch right now.
if we were watching like Christian Horned Frogs University versus Who Gives a Fuck Idaho, that would be a better game than what I'm seeing.
It would at least be competitive.
Yes, exactly.
I'm watching competition right now.
Right. And what did the Houston and the was it the Raiders? No, it wasn't the Raiders. It was somebody else.
No, it was Houston
The
and
Jaguars.
the Jaguars.
Yeah,
yesterday.
they tried to have a kickoff. They tried to see which tiny white guy had practiced more.
And I got to tell you, those games are the worst games. I understand that defense wins championships,
Right.
but when defense is the only side playing,
Right.
it's not a game anymore.
No, it's certainly not fun to watch. Now,
No.
I didn't get to see the game. So I went back and watched the YouTube, right, the highlights. The
Right.
score is 13-12. That's what I see, okay?
Right?
And when I pull up the YouTube highlights, do you know what it says?
What does it say?
This is a 10-minute and 22-second video clip of the highlights of the game.
I'm with you.
Now, the score is 13-12.
Right.
Should there be more than a minute and a half of
I'm
highlights?
not sure how they got 10 minutes of highlights out of that horseshit.
They didn't. They literally made me watch
Every
3 minutes of nothing happening. This is why the NFL needs Jay-Z.
See, what the NFL does is before the week starts, before they get the games going, they say, which of these games is going to be competitive? Which are them? So they look at strength of schedule, they look at who's playing QB, look at all the things, and which ones are close. It's
Right.
okay. We're going to pick the close game, and that game is our highlight game. So we're going to put all of our fucking cameras, and we're going to mic up the center, and we're going to, do all that shit on this game.
Right.
And once they made that decision, they can't back out.
Right.
So the game turns out to be a piece of shit, as it happened last Sunday.
Right.
Well, we just got to put this turd onto the internet and
Right.
see what shakes, you know?
Yeah, no, and it was terrible. So literally at 1 a.m., I watched 3 minutes of highlights. Nothing happened in those 3 minutes.
Makes perfect sense.
So I went back to reading Wikipedia. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I closed YouTube, quit looking at score. See, this is what the NFL doesn't understand.
Yeah.
The NFL doesn't understand that literally you can't call something highlights, give me 3 minutes of nothing, and expect me to be interested in anything else.
Because you'll start competing with Wikipedia. And the NFL does not want to compete with Wikipedia.
No, because Wikipedia has way more highlights.
Way more highlights.
I can look up the Battle of the Bulge. I can look up the Battle of Waterloo. I can find, like, my third removed 800th cousin away that was there. Like, there's so many. I can look up, like, where flatbread pizza came from. Like, there's so many things I can do on Wikipedia, and you're going to give me 3 minutes of the Texans and the Jaguars literally running around doing nothing. They were doing nothing.
This is why I miss NFL films. You know, you remember NFL films used to do those greatest hits?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what that's greatest hits, they're talking about actual impacts.
Right.
They put those videos together. Like, they would do that every Sunday. Like,
Right.
now those are illegal. Now those,
Yeah,
because,
you can't do that anymore.
oh, God, the head trauma.
Glorifies the head trauma.
Look at all of that head trauma that's going on. It's like, dude, we got grown men
Right.
that have worked their entire lives to run as fast as they possibly can and hit another person.
Right.
And you are mad because we watch it.
So
You're mad because we glorify it when that's your entire business model.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
if you want to ban the game, okay, I can see an argument for banning the game.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to let my son play football. That's
Sure.
insane.
Right. But this moves us right into branding, because if you pull back that thought of the greatest hits, what you land squarely in is Nike's ads in the late 90s. Okay?
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper as the mad referee
Yeah.
and Bruce Smith's shoes.
How was that not the greatest thing anyone's ever seen? Dennis
Bruce
Hopper.
Smith's shoes, man.
So excited. Dennis Hopper.
You don't know what these shoes do, man. I'm afraid, man. If you guys haven't seen that commercial, just YouTube it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
just type in Bruce Smith's shoes.
I'm gonna have
okay.
to put that on to our Twitter account.
Like,
that is gold.
it's such good film. They literally glorify the man's. He, like, holds the shoe up to his face and takes, like, a full inhale.
Yeah,
That's
God.
acting. Because I don't know how he didn't fall over.
I mean, I'm sure it was a fresh shoe. It had to be a fresh.
It's
If
movie
it was
magic.
If it was Bruce Smith's actual shoe, he definitely would not have made it through that video.
It was, man, and who remember, like, again, how do you talk about the NFL in the 90s and not talk about Bruce Smith? I mean, this man could move mountains. By the way, Mike, can we get that info? What is Bruce Smith doing these days? He played for the Buffalo Bills. He was in the NFL. I wonder if he has a Twitter.
Is Bruce Smith not dead?
He might be dead.
He might be alive.
He's still alive.
Still alive? Okay.
How old is he?
Born in 63, age 56.
All right.
Bad things, man. Bad things.
It was the best. And that's
I'm gonna post that.
And that's branding.
Yeah.
Like, that's true advertising. People don't understand. Nike will live forever because someone's either burning their shoes, they're sniffing their shoes, they're set, like, it's incredible. Hey,
Yeah, it's all-
Steve Glass is in the
Steve
house.
Glass is here.
Steve, come take a seat if you can find one, or just hang out.
Like,
So-
lean in on Mike's mic.
Yeah, so I don't know. That was say hi, Steve. We're apparently having our first
It's
unofficial guest today.
our first guest on the podcast. It's the
Right.
first time another voice besides the three of us is actually been on the podcast.
It's probably smart. It's probably a smart thing to have other people.
Well, considering the fact that I'm posting Dennis Hopper on Twitter, like, it might be another time to get another voice in here.
Right. That's true.
And
What,
Yes, what-
wasn't.
give- give us a-
What was that signal? That
What was-
wasn't even.
I didn't know. Yeah, like me
We
and
went
Ben-
over. We went over jazz hands. We didn't go over the helicopter thing. What
I
is?
guess-
Everyone loves a little helicopter.
What is the
I guess
helicopter
okay.
thing?
Helicopter means wrap it up.
Yeah, it
wrap up
always
this
means wrap
segment.
it up.
Oh, wrap
Okay,
up the segment.
wrap up the
okay,
segment.
well, listen. So what we're doing tonight is we're watching the Jets and the Dog Pound in. Is their stadium in New Jersey or is it in New York? They're called the New York Jets, so it's probably in New
Aren't both
York.
statements in New
I
Jersey?
think both stadiums are in New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Why aren't they the New
The
Jersey?
Giants
Jets?
play in the Meadowlands, which is in New Jersey, East Rutherford.
Yeah.
You just
okay.
said branding. Are you gonna? Who's gonna fucking watch New Jersey Giants? That's
Nobody wants to watch New Jersey anything.
Well, at least you know they're thugs. Like,
we got the who? What does New Jersey have? New Jersey has the fucking Nets that nobody gives a shit about. They got
Right.
the Jets nobody gives a shit about.
well, and they have the boardwalk. But I thought they had like crime and criminals and thugs. Like I thought that's what New
yeah,
Jersey
but
was.
you don't want to put that shit on
On a helmet.
On a, yeah.
Okay.
That's
The
I mean.
Jets-
What the DC tried that for years. Like we got the Washington Bullets over here. People took
The
offense.
Jets also play in the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Okay, so it's the same statement. Same statement.
I believe
Awesome.
so.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, anyway, you guys can correct us on our NFL protocol. But yeah, that's enough about that. It is Monday, and we're struggling just a little bit. Flavor Ray
Yeah,
is
we are.
He's going straight to Twitter. Mike is currently, I don't know what he's doing, and I'm just drawing things on a piece of paper. So
Cool shades and thrifters keep the money they've been paid, and drifters have nothing save for buying lifters. Don't give a damn what they say.
Wait, undeceivable, shit's unbelievable. You never ever guessed you'd hear this mix, it's inconceivable. Ouch, too hot.
All right, so I was talking to a friend of mine, a female friend of mine, and during this conversation, we brought up a subject that actually been bothering me quite a bit. So she goes on Facebook, and there's this message from this guy saying, "Hey, just saw your feed and thought you're kind of interesting, want to talk?" And so she goes, she's not an idiot. She does research first, and so she goes on his feed and like, "Oh yeah, this guy looks kind of interesting himself, a little handsome, like a family guy." So she messages him back, and as soon as she messages him back, he hits her back immediately, like that moment, like he'd been holding the phone in his hand, waiting on her to message back, which freaked her out a little bit, right? And so he's
Sure.
like, all right, hey, how you doing? You're like, "Oh yeah, you like such a beautiful spirit, and you're so pretty, and so on and so forth." She goes, yeah, okay. And so they jive for a second, and then out of the blue, he sends her a picture of his boxer shorts, of just his abs and his thighs and his boxer shorts. And she goes, "Oh, okay, well, we're going there, huh? So all right, so I'm a little bit, I'm not a prude. Why don't you show me a little bit more if you're gonna go that far?
okay.
See what else is there." And the guy goes, no, now you show me something. And she goes, "No, I don't do that."
Okay. All right.
And he goes, "Well, that's not how this works. I show you something, you show me something." And she goes, "No, I did not ask for you to send me anything. This was unsolicited. You are showing me things, and that's it."
Right.
And so he starts to get upset. He starts like, "Well, this isn't fair. Like, this is a one-sided interaction." He said, "No, it's not a one-sided." He said, "Look, if I sent my pictures to every guy that messaged me on Facebook, I'd have naked pictures all over the world." He
Right.
said, "Well, I'm not every guy." And immediately, she hangs up on him, right? She just,
Right.
like, because this is some creepy ass shit to do. And guys are doing this shit too much. Like, look, this guy looks like a good guy, seems like a good guy. She takes a chance and messages him, and then he just fucking shits the bed everywhere and ruins it for the next 20 guys that tries to message her. Guys, it's not that hard not to be a fucking creep to women in general, but especially on the internet when you just don't have to do that.
Yeah, but I think that highlights just the societal place that we've moved into, because it's seen as a very good way to meet a person.
Right. It does feel like that if to the uninitiated. But the thing about it is, there is no shortcuts to the game. So if you go out into the public right now and you're an awkward motherfucker around women, you see a chick and you can't talk, like, oh my God, she's so beautiful, and you get tongue tied and you start shaking in your boots and shit. Like that doesn't change when you get on the keyboard. You're not as nervous on the keyboard as you are in person, but you're just as fucking awkward.
Yeah, but I think you ought to be.
Yeah, I think you should too.
And I think this goes back to one of the points we've been making repeatedly, which is the fact that the internet is simply exposing us for who we are.
Right.
The internet is not attacking us. The internet is not an entity out there in the world hurting us and changing. In other words, that guy is the same guy at the bar who's going to walk 3 steps from the door and whip it out to pee around the corner instead of going to the bathroom because he's going to hope to get some action from some chicks coming out or coming in.
Right. It's the exact same dude.
It's the same guy.
And because it is the same guy, women treat the internet the same way they treat the club. In other words, stay away from me. You're being a creep. Get off my back, because they're afraid of getting attacked. If they're getting attacked at the club, they're getting attacked in the streets, they're getting attacked in the internet on their own home, her own Facebook page. There is no place for women to just chill with a guy.
Right.
It's like, look, I'm one of those dudes that I hang around a lot of dudes. I like hanging around dudes, but I also like hanging around women. Like, I'm not trying to be sexual with women 98% of the time. If that's not entering my mind. What is entering my mind is, hey, she's cool. She's one of my friends. And now we're getting to the point where women would expect me to be a creep just because I happen to have a penis.
Right.
And so it lowers my female friend quotient, and that makes me sad.
Well, and I think it also, but that even goes to how we use words. Okay? Because we say, like, this guy is a friend of mine.
Right.
This girl is a friend of mine. Well, that doesn't delineate at all between the creeps and the non-creeps.
Uh-huh.
So one of the things that's happened is when you get on Facebook or you get on Instagram and you friend in quotation marks
there.
Yeah, everybody you went to high school with, everybody this, everybody that.
Right.
The truth is, they're not all your friends.
Right. You don't know these people.
Right.
You don't interact with them all that much.
Right. And the thing I've had to start doing is, when people say, you read a book, let's say, on self-help, right?
Uh-huh.
You want to make your life better, you want to make your business better. What do they say? Audit your inner circle.
Right.
Okay? Like, look at who you hang out with. If you're not hanging out with someone smarter than you, you're not going to get smarter. You're going to be the top dog in every room. Okay?
Right.
So they say audit your inner circle. Look at who you hang out with if you want to change what you're doing. Well, everyone does that except on Facebook and Instagram.
Right. On Facebook and Instagram, all comers. Like, that's what matters. More followers, more friends equals more validation.
Yeah, and they don't want to fade the heat. So one of the things I've had to do is audit my inner circle of social media. So a lot of people, and they get offended at me for this. I actually, after a little bit, after I see what their feed is like and the type of content,
right?
I don't just unfollow them, which is safe. I unfriend them.
Right.
We're not friends.
It tells them straight up, like, all right, this isn't a thing that we're gonna do together, me and you.
Right, and then I'll bump into them at Target. Like, hey man, how's it going? Friendly greeting between people that are associates.
And they're like, hey, fuck you, you unfriended me. You're
they're like, hey, why'd you unfriend me? Well, we just didn't seem to have that much in common.
Right.
But if they keep pushing, I'll generally tell them, hey, you're a very negative person. And all I see on your Facebook every day is how many things you hate.
Right.
And I got to be honest with you. As far as I know, I only get one life.
Right.
So I just don't want to hate that many things.
It's a waste of my goddamn energy to spend my life being upset. So why am I gonna be upset for shit that you don't like? You know, I mean that happened. Like, dude, I don't go on Facebook at all. Like, if anything, like, if you look for me on Facebook, you can find me. You can find me, find my family. My wife will post and she'll respond, and my sister, my brother, my mother, they might respond to you. I ain't gonna tell you shit on Facebook because I'm not on there. All right. I have an account I made a long time ago, and I don't even mess with it. If you want to find me, it's gonna be on Instagram, and we're gonna talk about food. Okay.
Okay.
We're not gonna talk about my life on Instagram.
Okay.
If you want to find me, go about my Twitter. I will wax poetic about politics.
Mm-hmm.
Still not gonna tell you too much about my life. You know,
Right.
it's I've had that Twitter a long time. A lot of people.
Tell me this. What do you not like about Facebook?
What I don't like about Facebook is the fact that if you're on Facebook, you are displaying everything about yourself that you're trying to project. So it's solidifying the mask and driving the authentic down. Like there's like a lot of times you'll like only and if you do put stuff up as authentically you get immediate pushback. Not because you're wrong or because you're abrasive or because you're offensive. Just because, oh, I didn't know you were like that.
Okay.
And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, this is me. So, well, I'm not sure if I agree with that. Well, if somebody's commenting on your base self, your response should be, fuck off.
Okay.
You know, but you say fuck off on Facebook, then you get 20 more comments.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you have a thing.
Okay.
You know, if you're in a relationship and all of a sudden it gets complicated,
Yeah.
if you don't tell people it's complicated,
Uh-huh.
then they're going to come at you like, hey, man, how's that girl you talking to? Then you got to say, well, I haven't talked to her in a while, you know. It's complicated. Say, well, your relationship status says you're fine. Because I'm not trying to tell you all my goddamn shit. You know what I mean? It's too much people fronting on one end and then judging on the other. Like those are the two ends of Facebook. I don't see anything in the middle.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of advertising and a lot of connections that can happen. I just don't think that those things, the positive Facebook to me, are not weighing out the negatives for me. You know, so I just choose not to interact with it.
And I have no argument with that. I think what I'm getting at though is if we're going to go a little bit deeper here, is that because of the way Facebook is, or do you feel like that's the way that you? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
is it the way you interact with it?
I think absolutely Facebook can be used differently. You know, I just didn't have the patience for it.
Yeah, but I think this highlights a very interesting thing because all my friends who don't use Facebook say the very similar things about it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm wondering where the manual is that I didn't get. Because I in other words, maybe it's because I'm more outgoing.
Uh-huh.
Right? So I've been practicing not hiding myself for a very long time.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not. That doesn't mean to imply that you're hiding. I don't want to take it that way.
I'm with you. Keep going.
But what I'm saying is, you're viewing it in a certain way that it's to be used this way, and I'm saying I didn't get that memo.
I don't think it should be. I don't know how it's to be used. Like this just been my interaction with it. Like for example, like I do get stuff from Facebook because everyone around me is on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so they send me shit. And they'll send me something. I'm like, I don't fucking want this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I didn't need this. I don't want it. Like people, like I get a lot of fucking quizzes and memes, or I'll get news about Cambodia or something. Like I get a lot of shit. That's like none of this adds to my day. It's muddying up my thought process to even try to process what the fuck's going on here.
Yeah.
Like I just don't need it. Like I mean, just Facebook's one of those things that just doesn't jive with the way that I operate.
Okay.
I think there's a significant problem in Facebook and in social media in general, and it touches upon what you're saying, Ben, which is compartmentalization. A lot of people in their lives, they naturally compartmentalize. So you have this group of friends, and this is how you deal with them, and you have this group of friends, and this is how you deal with them. I feel like Facebook forces you into a situation where you have to interact with one group of people the same way you'd interact with another group of people. It's not easy to compartmentalize your friends groups
I feel you there.
and your social interactions on Facebook. What you put out there, you put out there to your friends, or you put out to the public, or you don't put out to anybody. You have to go through a lot of extra effort to set up your friends into specific groups that you then publish to.
The thing that popped in my head just then was the N-word. The N-word, this one being the big N-word. You know, like, if I have a group of friends where I use that word, and I'm black, people, so yes, I use that word with my friends. That's
Okay.
It's just, it's in my vernacular. I'm not removing it because it's something that I have to use. In that sense, I got one group I can say that word with, and one group that word should be avoided for the most part.
Right.
This is a deep conversation. Probably get back to it
Yeah.
a little bit.
I agree.
Words in Paris, we hot, that's French fire.
All right, so we're back. We're on our last segment here today. It's a Monday for all of us, so we're going to probably sign off early today. But I've had this quote stuck in my head for like 3 days, and I keep quoting it wrong. So CIO Payne is going to pull it up correctly.
Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
All right, so and we can put this up on our Twitter and our Instagram and our Facebook.
It's going to.
The thing about that quote that fascinates me is, first of all, I don't like it because it implies that there's already a way things are, and that I have no outcome but to participate in that methodology somewhere along the way.
Right.
But
You want to be the strong man, you know.
right,
in that.
yeah, but by that you create
And situation.
a situation in which weakness will be created also.
Right.
And I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot because I wonder if it isn't. Is it that they're actually hard times, or is it that what I expected was for life to be difficult? Meaning, I was born in 1979.
Correct.
So far, I have had what I would consider to be a blessed life.
Okay.
And I really don't give a fuck who likes that term or who doesn't. But like, I have lived in the golden era of humanity.
It's been pretty great.
So 1979 to 2019, I'm 40 years old.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I'm still married. Okay?
All right.
I have 3 kids who
Plus
are
1, plus 3.
all still alive.
All right, that's another plus 1.
Okay?
Yeah.
That none of them have ever been sick for long.
All right.
I have been able to find employment without any problem.
Plus 1.
I haven't grown up around that much violence when I read history.
Definitely plus 1.
And from what I can tell, I've had the height of entertainment,
Yeah.
the
sure.
height of quality of life.
Yeah, you had the 80s and the 90s after that.
Right. The medical industry is at the peak of its existence.
We will all live to be 100, people.
And we could talk about any one of these things, but it's funny when people look at me and they say, oh no, you've had it easy. Well, for instance, I didn't mention my mother and father are both still living.
Yeah, that is true. Me too.
And they say, oh no, you've had it easy. And I go, no, I've had it hard, man.
Yeah, it's been a rough ride.
But I wonder, is that, again, we're looking at perspective. We were talking about that. We were bumping right up against that in the last segment with social media. Is it simply that I was given my parents planted seeds that grew up that I expected it to be hard, so it was.
Uh-huh. Well, okay, that quote. All right, that quote is implying a cycle, a never-ending cycle of good times, bad times, weak people, and strong people that I think is automatically falsified immediately. Like it sounds like something out of Starship Troopers, you
Okay.
know, where it's like the only way to solve a problem permanently is with violence. You know, it's
By the way, that's a great movie.
guys, if you haven't seen Starship Troopers, you are really fucking up. You gotta check that out.
That's one of the first movies I ever saw that was in the comic book style of film.
Yes.
And a lot of people give it shit because it was a comic book movie.
Right.
That's how it was made. The pages when they laid it out, the pages are on screen almost.
Yes.
You can see the narrator turning the page.
If they put that storyboard into a binder, it would be a graphic novel.
See, storyboard, that's a word I would never have used. I'm so glad you're here. So glad someone here went to college.
Clancy Brown's greatest role. I want everyone to know that. Clancy
sure.
Brown's greatest role.
So
Starship
along
Troopers.
with Tim Meadows, I have to put up a Wikipedia of Clancy Brown on my Twitter now. Thanks, Mike.
That's right.
All right, so
Next advertisement. We keep having to tell people who Clancy Brown is.
I think this quote is false because it's setting up a situation where it's like this is cyclical. And I think the false part of it is the idea that there are ever easy times. I would think that every time is a hard time for the people who are in that time because life is hard.
You know, I tend to agree with you, Ray, but for a slightly different reason. I feel like this quote is kind of like a Mercator projection of a map. You know, when you take a globe and you try to flatten it into a map, you get distortions.
Right.
So this quote is that same thing. Life is not a singular cycle. It's not a singular entity. It's a massive systems problem. And the thing about systems problems is that you have little tiny pieces of that in all different places. What we have when we have good times in the United States, that doesn't mean the entire world is having a good time, right?
Right.
There are places in the world where people are really not having a good time. That it is the hard time for them, and the fact that you have these different systems that interact with each other, I think is what makes this quote false. It's all dependent upon your perspective.
I don't think America's ever had a good time.
I don't know that the quote is false, but I think the way I'm going back to perspective. I think the way we perceive the quote is understood on many different levels. Because I know for our listeners, as soon as Mike's voice came on the air, it was hard times.
Right.
So they quit listening.
Instantaneously.
And now that we're back,
They're stronger.
back with us.
They're stronger now for Mike having spoken.
Why must you take this opportunity to?
It was a perfect opportunity to stab you in the heart.
Because you're from Jersey, man.
You're from
You know
New
what?
Jersey.
It's that Naruto move. It's the
Is
what
this
do they
the
call
10,000 years of pain?
10,000 years of pain, right there.
That was right up the old keister right there.
Okay, I want to apologize to Mike in front of our listening audience. That was uncalled for on my part.
Mike's fine. He's okay. He's a
Mike
big
is
boy.
actually much better than great, but still, it's important. It's important to recognize that, and that the way we perceive the quote, the way we perceive the question, because I realized as Mike was talking and saying something that changed my perspective,
Right.
that if you live in Colombia,
Yeah.
1979 to 2019 may have been one of the hardest times they've ever gone through.
I believe, yeah, it was fucking terrible. Like, well, imagine living in Beirut from 85 to 98.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, your shit was fucked up all the time.
Right, but if you grew up in Texas, if you live in the United States,
Yeah.
But I realized that even then that's nuanced, because what if we just found out about Michigan?
Yes.
They did not have the clean water that we have.
Right.
Which makes me question: do we have the clean water that we have?
Or if you look from block to block, see, like as I'm talking, it's evolving in my mind. Like if I go to a person's house and say, "All right, how's times?" and the dad says, "This is fucking great." I look over at the wife, and the wife has the 1,000-yard stare in her face. Her times are hard. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, is he getting weaker and she's getting stronger?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in that sense, the quote could be true.
Yeah.
But how are the kids faring?
And where are you in that cycle? Is that
Exactly.
cycle a day to day? Is that cycle a month to month? Is that cycle 100 years?
Is it more of a continuum? Like some days you're getting better, some days you're getting worse?
Right.
Is it a trend?
Which takes me back to I've been watching this Netflix show that called Dark. Have any of y'all seen this show?
You've
Watched
mentioned it.
most of the first season.
You mentioned it several times. I haven't gotten around to it yet. There's too much media to consume.
Yeah, there is. Okay, but Ray, this is a very important show. So it's made in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna try to look it up here real quick. Actually, Mike, if you could look up the show Dark and
I
tell
think
me,
it's more likely that people have seen Fringe
or
than
Stranger
Dark.
Things.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, but the Netflix original Dark, it deals with time, and our currently our limited understanding. Does it say in anything about it there, Mike? What the not the synopsis, but the
theory behind it?
The theory that they're working on. I believe it was Higgs boson, or I may be saying that.
He may be in the Higgs boson.
Okay.
Some of you might know that's the God particle. It's basically the field through which matter comes into the universe.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because I may then in that
The
case.
Higgs boson is a field through which a massless particle, once passes through this field, will gain mass.
It's more related to time, but I don't.
The only thing that they say here is Dark concerns the aftermath of a child's disappearance, which exposes the secrets of and hidden connections among 4 estranged families as they slowly unravel a sinister time travel conspiracy which spans 3 generations.
Well, okay, that's the Wikipedia. Wikipedia doesn't have time to go into it too deep because it's a fictional story. Wikipedia has a very weird thing where sometimes you'll find the link to the actual theory behind it. Sometimes you won't. But because the Higgs boson is about gravity is always about time. So I think what you're working off of here is that time is able to bend, right? Or it's able to be looped, like space is able to be looped.
Right.
And so you're able to advance forward to a point that is in the past and never turn around. I know that sounds fucked up to everybody listening who doesn't have any theoretical physics in their background, but that is actually very close to how it works.
Yeah, I think the fascinating thing a lot of the characters in this show are based on characters that H.G. Wells wrote about.
Right.
Interestingly enough, which is another point of contention I have for people watching this show. I mean, it's a very interesting idea that our understanding of time currently is super limited.
We are in our infancy in our understanding of time, for sure.
And I think and I know I segued into something else, but that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go down rabbit holes. I think that's just part of it.
It's the best part.
But I think that if you comprehend that our understanding of time is in its infancy,
yes,
and you read what not only science says, but if you read what philosophers have said,
yes,
about time, especially as they get towards the end of their life.
Right.
I'm not so fascinated by what they said when they were young men and women. I'm more fascinated about what they're saying when they're in their 70s, 80s, and 90s.
I really think that philosophers at the beginning of their careers are really making money. You know what I mean? They're writing stuff that's going to sell.
Right.
And at the end, they're like, all right, I need to figure out what this shit's going to be because I'm going to be faced with it in about 10 seconds.
Right.
You know, so you're getting some good shit at the end.
Yeah, I think even Einstein really had some serious regrets when he came to the end and understood that the problems that he had been dealing with in other parts of science,
right,
had most likely have become very interesting to him, and he would have solved them had he started with the concept of time in the beginning.
Right.
Which again goes back to perspective or perception.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's really interesting when you think about that quote, because one of my things as a parent is, none of us want to make things easy on our kids, but it's something we don't look at, that we do want it to be easier for our children than it was for us.
Yes.
So we automatically start out trying to make things better for them, but in making things better, do we tend them towards easy?
I think that it is our instinct as human beings to want to make things dramatically easier for our kids than it were for us, because we're thinking that if our kids put forth the effort that we put forth to get to this point, but instead of starting from where we started, they started from our point, then they will walk further. So if I'm going down the road and I'm taking my kids with me and I say, okay, this is as far as I go, you go from here, then my kid will get much further down that same road and they'll be better. That's the thought. I do not know if it works that way or if that's supposed to work that way, but I do think that is our instinct. All right, we'll pick that up again on a later podcast. We are Tattooed with Children. It's three guys bullshitting, obviously. We're not going to get to any answers. We're not going to give you any new information. We're not going to give you anything that can be construed as a way to live, but we will have a conversation, and I think that's just as important.
Absolutely, it is. And we'll try to follow up some of these theories in later episodes.
All right. We are on Instagram at Tattooed with Children. We're on Facebook, Tattooed with Children. We are on Twitter at Tattooed with, because fuck Jack. And my Twitter is Hunter Vanguard. That's Hunter Vanguard, one word. My IG is Madara Shadow. Ben's on IG at Black Crow Brother and Black Spot Tattoo Company. We got CIO Payne, who is on IG at CIO Payne. And anything else to leave it out there?
No, let's just leave it at that.
All right, guys, it's time for a smoke break. Love ya.